Have you ever felt like you just can't finish? Or you have all these things you want to do and you're trying to keep up with people on social media, or you're trying to keep up with the Joneses and you just can't do it all?
All the time, all the time. And quite honestly, I feel like I say yes to too much and not know enough. I
You know,
just,
what's interesting about that is so I hired a coach this year, 2024, because I go on a retreat every year with the same three other people. And one of my goals for 2024 was to hire a coach. And this coach made me sit down. She gave me this like worksheet. And one of my goals was to protect my yes. But I still think
what does that
what?
mean? Like protect your yes.
So I don't say yes to everything. So
Okay,
instead of
so
saying no, I'm protecting my yes and trying to figure out how I pause. Like, how do I protecting my yes? Like, remember the book we just finished by Rachel Rogers? No, like if you do everything, you can't do something well.
or if
So
everything's a priority, nothing's really a priority. And honestly, when I say yes to things, I'm saying no to other things that might mean more to me. And then I'm frustrated, but I made this commitment and I say yes to it all the time. And then I'm doing stuff in frustration and feeling like, well, I wanted to do all this for myself, but I said yes to so and I say yes too fast. Like because I'm the fixer. Like I feel like, oh, I should help everybody, forgetting that that's not what I really wanted to do. I mean, it's almost confusing. It's almost I it's just it's a lot.
and here's the thing is I think we all are born with different abilities, different gifts, and I think there are some people that are fixers. And when I was saying earlier, one of my goals was to protect my yes. And then you just said, well, what does that mean? I opened up my goal sheet and it said, come up with, and so she gave you actions to achieve the goal. And then she made me come up with four. And then she made me have a collaborator. So my first action for protect my yes was come up with key phrases to not say no right away, but to have thought before saying yes. Determine the value of saying yes. When you say yes, how much is it going to cost me per hour if I said yes?
Ooh.
And determine the cost of saying no. So she was like coaching me through, Carrie, you say yes to everything, but when you say yes, who are you saying no to? Are you saying no to yourself? Are you saying no to Mark? Am I saying yes to speaking engagements that are really not something I should be saying yes to?
Okay. I'm processing because I feel I don't even know how to respond to this because I say yes to I feel like I'm saying yes because I want something to do, and I'm not processing and giving myself time to think about what's the wise decision. And I'm saying yes because, ooh, I could learn something, or ooh, I could help somebody, instead of using it as a place of wisdom and slowing down. And like that one book we both just read, like what, or you recommended, because I think you read it already, essential. What's essential? Like, what is the
What's the
most
name of the book again?
essentialism?
Mm-hmm.
And what's the most important thing? Like for example, I want to learn and get all this knowledge, but how is it helping me? And how am I slowing down to do what I want to do? And even just sitting in it right now just almost feels uncomfortable. It almost feels even this morning. I was like, I got up early. I wanted to do all these things. And I got caught up in just doing a bunch of stuff and starting to get frustrated because I wasn't doing what I really could help me move forward. And we just mentioned that the idea of I started a new job. And it's an amazing job. It's a new career. And your brain, I'm just exhausted from all the learning. Good exhaustion. But I come home and I have these, I'm driving home like I'm going to do all this stuff because I've told myself yes. But my body's like, nope, you're going to sleep. It's it's the daily living of whatever's happening in the moment and sitting back and going, it's okay to rest. It's okay to have sleep. Like you told me just this morning, you were like, I fell asleep and got good sleep. And it caused me to wonder when you said, I don't want to go to sleep. There's so much I need to do. And the first thing I thought of was, I can hit the pillow and go to sleep and love that I'm going to get 7 to 8 hours and get up refreshed. And I started that when I went away to college. The first time I went away to college, I enjoyed laying on the pillow and just falling asleep.
Yeah. So when you said that, I said, we were, before we started having this conversation, I was saying, and I think menopause might have something to do with that, but I would say I dreaded going to sleep because you made a good point when you were like, well, Carrie, why do you dread it? Is it because you have all these things you haven't finished? And that really could be it. Cause I go to bed and I'm still thinking, to the point where, and I'm sure my notebook is down there. I have to write things. So what I do is in the morning is when I get up and I write like a list of things that I need to get done and want to get done. And then I circle what I need to get done because, it's like eat the frog, you got to do the hard thing first. And again, I'm finding that when I go to bed at night, I think I'm just still thinking about the day, and maybe I should do that at night. Because a couple of nights ago, we were sitting on the couch. Mark went outside because he was talking to someone. He was sitting in the back. And I was like, I think I'm tired. And it was like 9 o'clock. So that's like 9 Eastern. And I just went to sleep. And then Mark was like, okay, you should go to bed. I went upstairs. It was like 9:30. I had the best night's sleep. And I think it was because I had a really good productive day and my mind had had enough and I was tired. But there are times when I go to bed at night where I haven't finished. And I think it's because maybe I think I'm kind of on vacation, but I'm really not. I'm still working. So again, going back to the concept of protecting my yes, what was interesting with Terry, who I hired, she said, what's the completion date? And then when you had your actions, what's the expected result of action number one or action number two? And one was more time to focus on family, Mark, relaxation, and better business opportunities. And I'm like, yeah, because if I really protect my yes, I can do what I want to do and I can do what's going to make more profit for me, but actually what I really, really like. The things you do that, don't feel like work. And then she was like, so what else? And I was like, what the frequency of saying no? She was like, track how many times you say no and track when you do say yes. Again, what is it costing you? And I was like, this made a lot of sense. And so she was like, you need an accountability partner. And I didn't bug you in any of these because I knew you were starting a new job, but I had Mark.
Thank you.
And my weekly accountability meeting is Monday at 10 a.m. So you already know. And so, yeah, that was a big moment for me for 2024 was I know I say yes to a lot. And the takeaway is Carrie, before you say no or yes, say, you know what, let me look at my calendar. Let me see if this is something I can do and I'll get back to you. And because people will text me, they'll send me a direct message. And then I got a direct message on Facebook and on Instagram. Don't DM me on TikTok. I'm still trying to figure that out. Although I know
Yeah,
how to
really,
check
because I
it.
can't figure that out either.
Well, I
That's
just
all.
feel like it's not, I don't know, maybe it's just because we're not under the age of 32,
No, they
but
changed it. And before I used to be able to see all my messages in one place, and then now all you can do is see the likes and who's yeah, it's
so I
special.
might have to go, I might have to go look at that. But so my point is I now had to take a second and say, if I do this class in Illinois, even if it's because in Illinois, when I get paid for continuing ed in Illinois, Northern Illinois, I don't get paid as much. When I do continuing ed, I get paid more when I leave the state. Now you just have to know, as in the speaking world, you're somebody when you leave the state. I'm still somebody in Illinois, but they're used to us. And this was my practice ground. This is where I learned in Illinois, like I'm in Illinois. And so people know us. And so to stay consistent, we still have to, we charge whatever is the best rate for the association.
Okay,
So I
so
had to easily, like even recently I was asked to teach continuing ed, and thinking about it, I had to pause before I said yes. It probably took me 2 weeks to respond to her. She kept texting me and I'm like, let me look. And I'm like, you know what? It's in October. It's before we go to the national convention. Am I really going to be leaving the state? I usually block out on my calendar when I have conventions or when I have an opportunity to speak and they haven't responded. And I'm like, you know what? This one I can do. So it's better for me to teach continuing ed as opposed to teaching the MLS. And sometimes I'm like, should I even be doing all of that? Because,
okay, so hold up. I'm gonna give you a perspective. So every Friday you go live on Instagram for the most part. And you'll talk to real estate agents or whoever just jumps in and you'll give them tips and tricks. And one thing that you say that helps sometimes ground me is like, for example, we'll just say social media, YouTube videos and posting online. Or for you, you have been in your arena for years, years. And I've been in my arena for years, since the late 1900s. And there you talk to a lot of new real estate agents. And I talk to early in education teachers, mid and, veteran teachers, even the same from principals. And sometimes it's like they see all the things that you've done and you have been at the same place they are now.
I've been there.
And you will say, online, like, I've been doing this a while, whether it's media, talking, and, like we even had a chat about me being comfortable in this uncomfortable environment and how I should be. And if you saw my videos that I did 2-3 years ago, it's everybody starts somewhere. And it's that middle part that is I feel like I'm still in the middle part of feeling like I have to say yes to everything because I'm trying to catch up with or keep up with whomever. And I need to let that go.
You don't have to keep up,
And
right?
I don't have to keep up with anybody. And like, even in my current role, there's so much that I want to get done because I can. But I just need to focus on what is essential today. Like, what are those 1, 2, 3 focus things? Because you mentioned that you write down this list. I got rid of the list. Let me tell you why I got rid of the list.
So
Because
what do you mean by what list?
any list that I like, if I write something down and I write down if I write down a list of things that I want to get done that day, and I like that you said you circled the things you like are the priorities,
Must do.
because that list will send me to bed exhausted because I didn't get to everything. So I was like, nope. So I will write down everything that's realistic for a month. And then I'll say, where are the 3 priorities and who needs it? For me, it might be my direct supervisor, the assistant soup. What does she need? The superintendent? Like, how is this affecting the board? How can we help support those kind of things? And then even my things become a priority on the weekend or the evening. And there's so like today, in my mind, I was like, I want to do so much, but I have to be okay with that it's not going to get done. And that is the part that is so hard for me because I can't and once I being okay with sitting and thinking, that is not something I have done very often, but I've started to embrace the thinking piece. And so in the car, I could drive anywhere from an hour and 5 minutes to 2.5 hours, depending on what time I leave. And for some people, they're like, oh my gosh, how could you? So I have made a point of turning off everything and just thinking, allowing myself to think about whatever so that I can allow myself a break. And that is do that at home. Try to do that at home. Like allowing myself to enjoy the movie without distractions, allowing myself to not be on TikTok, Instagram, YouTube Shorts, the the scroll. And that's a task because we are so stimulated with our brains right now. And the reason why I say yes, that one dude on TikTok or Instagram that's talking about ADHD, I'm trying to find something else to do because my mind is bored. And instead of allowing myself to sit in not necessarily just the boredom, but thinking, that is really difficult for me.
Because when we
And
get bored, where do we go?
Amazon.
TJ Maxx.
It's
I
just,
try to go window shopping. That's why I think
or
sometimes I need like a
Ross.
budget.
But the thing is that so I'm trying to reshift my mind, like the mindset, the growth mindset and the fixed mindset. My fixed mindset is when I'm bored, get in the car, go do something, and it's easy to go to the store because there's air conditioning. So what I'm doing is instead I'm like, I get a book out, or I'll sit and set a timer and just think. I've been known to fall asleep, which the timer is going to wake me up because my brain needs time to rest. And there are some books out there that there are people like, you can do more and less sleep. And let me show you, please ignore those books. That is I want to swear, bull something. Your brain needs rest. There's a reason why sleep is sleep. You
Well,
need,
because so you are recommending that people read that book Essentialism then, because even if they just read the first couple of chapters, it'll make them say, okay, I can't burn the candle at both ends. I need to stop.
yeah. And I know I like the audibles in the car. And I would argue with people like sometimes get the physical book. And you should probably put the affiliate link in here. But the reason why is
If I
because
haven't.
it'll
Mhm.
allow you to read. And for people who can't fall asleep, trick I learned, I like a good novel, but it will make you fall asleep at night. And when I start to fall asleep, I close it, put it down, and I'm done. And that becomes my book of enjoyment. Like there are and sometimes it's an informational book that's a storyline, like Essentialism. I'm telling you, we have to slow down, go slow to go fast. And I think you mentioned that, like, it takes time to get better at anything, and everybody's new at something. We're all new. The first time I worked for Nordstrom, like I worked in sales, and we were all on salary and commission, and I would watch these people sell, and I'm like, oh my gosh, I want to be there. But what I learned is the relationships that I create are more important than the sale. The
So with
relationships
that
that
being,
I
go ahead.
create. Yeah. So no, go ahead. You're right. That's the
So I'm
next.
going to say this. Relationships matter is what you just said. So let's leave our audience with a couple of takeaways. So from what we just talked about, you can't do it all. What's something they can take away?
Is to slow down, go slow to go fast. Stop comparing yourself with other people. Stop comparing yourself to the person who seems they're very really successful because they started somewhere. In education, I was a new teacher, I was a new principal, I'm a new director. We're all new at something. Give yourself grace, because if you give yourself grace, when you start working with the person who's new, you will give them grace too. That's and really building that collaborative relationship piece and taking in the information and going slow to go fast.
Well, there you have it. I am Carrie Little. You can find me on Instagram at Carrie Jo Little and the same on TikTok, pretty much everywhere. I am a broker owner in Illinois and in Florida of Caremark Realty Group. And if you want to learn more from me, of course, subscribe to my YouTube channel and check out smartgirlmedia.com.
And I am Dr. Mina Blazy, and I am everywhere Mina J. Blazy except on YouTube. I'm MJ Blazy. And please subscribe to my YouTube channel, follow me everywhere, and come back and listen to whatever is going on so that we can help you improve and to go slow to go fast.